out of control, young man." That's pretty much the anthem that all the adults I know have been singing in unison all my life. Hey, all I know now is what I used to get whipped for, I now get paid for. In Mark Lowry's book, Out of Control, he tells us some interesting and entertaining stories of his life. He shows us how living in a world with ADHD, where time was little known about hyperactivity, wasn't easy. God has a gift for hyperactive children, and a blessing for their parents. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Out of Control. Life is like a journey. Let's admit it, planning a vacation is a lot more fun than doing one. You know, I've planned a lot of things in my life. I'm not saying it's the right way, I'm just saying it's my way. I believe God tells us to live life to the fullest, milk it dry. When I get to the end of my journey, I'm not going to be able to say I've done everything right. In fact, I'll probably wish I'd done some things differently. But what I do want to say is, wow, what a trip. You see, I grew up in church. My father was the church deacon, my mom, the church pianist, and I, the church brat. I wasn't just your normal brat. When people met me, they knew why some animals eat their young. I had airbags on my baby buggy. I was so hyperactive. I was so hyperactive that the moment I learned how to walk, Mama was pointing me to the door. I was so bad, I was sent to a psychiatrist in the 3rd grade. That's right. The principal of my school actually told my mother I needed psychiatric help. So one day, my mom comes up to me. "Mark, you've been chosen out of your whole school to go and take some tests." I said, "Well, hot dog, Mom, let's go." The psychiatrist ran these tests on me. She asked me about my mommy and my daddy, and my brother Mike, who's perfect. Perfect people don't have a right to live. My brother never did anything wrong. We used his halo as a nightlight. It was sickening. She didn't ask me about my sister, Melissa, because she wasn't born yet. Melissa came around 9 years after I did. Mama told me she waited 9 years because she was scared to death she was going to have another one like me. But Melissa turned out just like Mike. Perfect. After the psychiatrist finished these tests, she came out to the lobby to tell my mother, "Miss Lowry, your boy Mark is normal." What? Mama didn't believe her, so she took me to another doctor to get a second opinion. The doctor ran an EEG on my brain. That's a test where they tape little wires to your head. I thought they were going to electrocute me. That test came up normal too. Mama was frustrated, but Daddy wasn't frustrated. Daddy found a verse in Proverbs which says, "Foolishness is bound up in the heart of the child, but the rod of correction can drive it far." That changed my life. Daddy started taking God at his word and beating the devil out of me every night. Don't get me wrong. Daddy's not a child abuser. Daddy is the godliest man I've ever known. My dad never hollers, never yells, never screams, never tells you to do anything twice. He's always an inch from a coma. He doesn't even scream at football games. If he gets really excited, he makes a sucking sound on the back of his teeth. It sounds like this. You could probably stand right next to him and never hear it. I could hear it a block away. When Daddy went, I knew my party was over. It was the same at home. When I, the brat, would push him too far, my dad never hollered, never yelled, never screamed. He just made that noise. My mother was the opposite of my father. When my dad is calm, cool, and collected. Mama can't even spell calm, cool, and collected. Mama is a screamer. You know what a screamer is? A screamer is someone you pay no attention to until she hits that certain pitch. And you know she's hit that certain pitch because garage doors start flying open all over the place. She used to tell me, "Mark, just wait until your daddy gets home." My daddy always came home. He'd walk right through the front door from work, and the first thing he'd hear is, "Charles, you've got to talk to Mark." I remember one time I was 8 and my brother was 10. I was in the kitchen, minding my own business. Then Mike, Mr. Perfect, came walking through the door with that look on his face. Have you ever seen anybody with the look? It's the look that says, I need to be slapped. What was I to do? I walked over and slapped him. Next thing I knew, I was on the floor, wrestling with Mr. Perfect. He had me by the throat. I was pounding him in the wrist. We were having a wonderful time. That is, until Mama had enough. She used to tell me that a lot. Mark, I've just about had enough. I'd say, well, help yourself, there's plenty more. There came a time when I was too big to spank. I think I was about 15. I'd look at my watch, be like, ooh, a little more to the left. Mama didn't like that. But I wasn't too big to spank on this particular day. And while we were having a great time, knocking over kitchen chairs and bouncing off the kitchen table, Mama was in the kitchen too, washing the dishes. You hardly knew she was there. That is until Mama had enough. I wish God would instill on the back of every mother's head a little light that starts blinking 10 seconds before enough. You can make a lot of tracks in 10 seconds. But we had no warning this day. And before we knew it, Mama had thrown herself over the kitchen sink, and this is what we heard. Oh! I failed! Lord, please forgive me for failing with these boys. My brother and I quit fighting and started watching. This was a lot more fun than fighting. Mama was pitching a fit. I failed! Before we knew it, the phone started ringing. Ring, ring. We looked at the phone, then back at Mama. Then at the phone again, then back at Mama. But she didn't let up. I failed! I have failed! I remember wondering, I wonder who's going to get the phone. It sure wasn't going to be my brother and me, and that left Mama. And she was in no condition to answer the phone. Her cheeks were all red and puffy, tears splashing off her face, and nothing but short, wheeling sound coming from her mouth. But before we knew it, she turned and started walking towards the phone. I immediately began fasting and praying. God, please, God, please don't let that be Daddy on the phone. I'll go to Africa. I'll wear polyester Bermuda shorts for the rest of my life. Lord, I'll marry a woman with a monkey on her head. But please don't let that be Daddy on the phone. As she turned, she slipped in the face too. I cannot believe how you boys treat me. She said as she lifted her hand towards the phone. Between the two of you, I've been in labor half my life. She said as she gripped the phone's receiver. I went through the valley of the shadow of the death to give you birth. She says she picked it up. And you treat me like, hello. Mama's voice turned to peaches and cream, and sweet birds started singing. I still have no idea how she did it.